Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and watched the alien fleet fill his screens. 300 enemy ships hung in space around Earth, like wolves around a trapped deer. Each ship was bigger than anything humans had ever built. Their dark metal hulls gleamed with weapons that could turn cities into glass. The message had come 12 hours ago. Admiral Lisa Carter had called every ship captain to Luna Base for an emergency meeting. The alien coalition wanted Earth to surrender everything. They wanted human colonies, human technology, and human freedom. If Earth refused, they would destroy every human in the galaxy. Jake looked at his crew on the bridge. His weapons officer, Lieutenant Carl Brooks, was only 23 years old. His navigator, Sergeant Mary Phillips, had 2 young children back on Earth. These people trusted him to keep them alive. But he did not know how. The coalition ships belonged to 14 different alien races. The Zephyrians with their crystal technology, the Corinth with their plasma cannons, the Stellar Confederacy with their mind control weapons. Each race was older than humanity. Each race was stronger than humanity. Together they were unstoppable. Commander Ryan Blake walked onto the bridge with new intelligence reports. His face was grim as he handed Jake the datapad. The coalition had been planning this attack for 5 years. They had studied every human ship, every human weapon, every human defense. They knew exactly how to destroy Earth's military in one swift strike. Jake read the report and felt his blood turn cold. The aliens had infiltrated human space with spy ships. They had mapped every defense station, every military base, every escape route. Worse, they had discovered Earth's most secret weapons programs and had already developed countermeasures. Dr. Amy Walsh joined them on the bridge. She was Earth's top expert on alien cultures and had spent 10 years living among different species. As a diplomat, her knowledge of alien psychology had helped humans avoid war for decades. But now even she looked defeated. Amy explained what the coalition really wanted. They did not just want human surrender. They wanted human extinction. During her time with the Zephyrians, she had discovered secret council meetings where alien leaders discussed the human problem. Humans were too aggressive, too creative, too dangerous to be allowed to survive. The vote among the 14 species had been unanimous. Humans must be wiped out completely. No human colonies would be spared. No human prisoners would be taken. The galaxy would be cleaner without the dangerous apes from Earth. Jake felt rage building in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. His crew needed to see strength, not anger. He asked Amy about human allies in the galaxy. Surely some species would help Earth fight this coalition. Amy shook her head sadly. The few alien races that liked humans were too weak to matter. The stronger races either joined the coalition or stayed neutral. Earth was alone against impossible odds. President John Hayes appeared on the main screen from his bunker in Washington. The president looked older than his 60 years. The weight of leading humanity through its darkest hour had aged him rapidly. Behind him stood the military leaders who would decide Earth's fate. The president spoke to every human ship captain in the solar system. The coalition had given Earth 72 hours to surrender. Every human colony must be abandoned. Every human ship must be scrapped. Every human must accept alien rule or face death. Jake listened as other ship captains reported from around the solar system. Captain Alina Rodriguez commanded the defense of Mars colonies. Colonel Ben Parker led the military forces on Titan. General Steve Collins coordinated the outer system defenses. Each of them faced the same impossible choice. The president asked for opinions from his military advisors. Some generals wanted to fight even against hopeless odds. Others suggested negotiating for better surrender terms. A few recommended evacuating Earth's population to unknown regions of space. Admiral Lisa Carter spoke last. She was Earth's highest military commander and the person Jake respected most in the universe. Her voice was steady as she explained the reality. The coalition fleet could destroy all human forces in less than 6 hours. Earth's weapons were toys compared to alien technology. But then, Carter's voice changed. Something hard entered her tone as she spoke about human history. Humans had faced extinction before. The Black Death had killed half of Europe. 2 world wars had nearly destroyed civilization. Nuclear weapons had brought humanity to the edge of annihilation. Each time, humans had survived. Each time, humans had grown stronger. Each time, humans had proven that they would rather die fighting than live as slaves. Carter looked directly at Jake through the screen. She asked if he was ready to show the galaxy what humans were really made of. Jake felt his crew straighten. Behind him, Lieutenant Brooks checked his weapon systems. Sergeant Phillips plotted emergency jump coordinates. The other ship captains gave similar responses across the fleet. Captain Rodriguez reported her Mars forces ready for battle. Colonel Parker confirmed Titan defenses were operational. General Collins stated that the outer system fleet would fight to the last ship. President Hayes nodded slowly. The decision was made. Earth would not surrender. Earth would fight. If humanity was destined for extinction, they would take as many aliens with them as possible. The President signed the declaration of war against the Galactic Coalition. Every human ship received new orders. Protect civilian evacuations. Strike hard at enemy forces. Show no mercy to species that would genocide. Humanity. Jake turned to his crew as the transmission ended. He saw fear in their eyes, but also determination. These young humans had grown up hearing stories of their ancestors, who fought impossible battles. Now, it was their turn to write history. The Coalition ships began moving closer to Earth. Their formation was perfect, their coordination flawless. They had planned this moment for years, and were confident in their superiority. They had made one mistake. They thought they understood humans, but they had never seen humanity truly angry before. The first alien ships opened fire at exactly dawn on Tuesday. Their plasma beams cut through Earth's atmosphere like burning swords, striking military bases across 6 continents. Major Danny Torres watched from his command post as North American Aerospace Command disappeared under a dome of superheated gas. Danny had been a pilot for 12 years, but he had never seen destruction on this scale. The alien weapons turned concrete bunkers into pools of liquid rock. Steel towers melted like candles. The entire base that had taken 50 years to build was gone in 30 seconds. His fighter squadron scrambled into the morning sky, their small ships racing toward the massive alien vessels. Danny's wingman Lieutenant Paul Grant flew beside him, both men knowing they were flying to their deaths. Their missiles bounced harmlessly off alien shields while return fire vaporized human fighters one by one, in orbit above Earth. Captain Elena Rodriguez piloted the UES Defiance against a Corinth dreadnought. Her ship was Earth's newest cruiser, equipped with experimental quantum shields and plasma cannons. Against the alien monster that was 10 times larger, it looked like a minnow attacking a whale. Elena's weapons officer, Lieutenant Kevin Ross, fired everything they had at the enemy ship. Their plasma beams struck alien armor and barely scratched the surface. The dreadnought returned fire with weapons that could crack planets. The Defiance shook like a toy in a hurricane as her shields absorbed impossible amounts of energy. Engineer? Chief Nancy Wood reported shield failure in sections 7 through 12. Hull breaches on decks 4 and 9. The ship was dying around them, but Elena kept fighting. Every second the Defiance survived was another second for civilian transports to escape. On Mars, Colonel Ben Parker received the evacuation order with a heavy heart. The Red Planet held 2 million colonists in 17 different cities. Most were families who had spent their entire lives building new homes in the Martian desert. Now they had less than 6 hours to abandon everything. The spaceport at New Dallas was chaos, as desperate families fought for seats on transport ships. Ben's soldiers tried to maintain order while alien scouts appeared on the horizon. The enemy was coming fast. Their black ships skimming over the Martian landscape like hunting birds. Captain Lisa Stone led the civilian transport convoy toward the outer system. Her cargo ship UES Mercy carried 3,000 refugees in conditions designed for 300. Children cried in the overcrowded holds, while their parents wondered if they would ever see home again. Behind them, Ben's defense forces made their final stand at the Olympus Mons military base. His tanks and artillery opened fire on alien landing craft, but human weapons were like throwing rocks at armored giants. The aliens advanced steadily through the defensive lines, their energy shields deflecting everything the humans could throw at them. Sergeant Mike Chen died holding the North Gate with his squad of young Marines. Corporal Janet Lee sacrificed herself to destroy an alien walker with a suicide bomb. One by one, Ben's soldiers gave their lives to buy precious minutes for the evacuation ships in the asteroid belt. General Steve Collins coordinated the retreat from his command ship, Guardian. His screens showed the systematic destruction of human positions throughout the solar system. Europa Station went dark after a brief firefight. The research base on Titan fell silent after reporting alien boarding parties. Steve had spent 40 years building Earth's defenses, but nothing had prepared him for this level of technological superiority. The aliens could jam human communications, penetrate human shields, and destroy human ships faster than his crews could even target them. But the retreat was not random chaos. Every falling position had served its purpose in a larger plan. The defense of Mars had delayed the alien advance by 18 hours. The battle for Europa had forced enemy ships to expend ammunition and fuel. Each heroic last stand had moved human civilians closer to safety. Captain Jake Morrison received new orders as his ship, UES Vengeance, limped away from a disastrous engagement near Jupiter. His quantum shields were failing and half his crew was dead, but Admiral Carter wanted him to continue fighting. The Admiral had a plan that required every surviving human ship. Jake looked at the tactical display, showing red symbols marking destroyed human positions. Earth's orbital defenses were gone. Mars was occupied by alien forces. The outer colonies were falling one by one as the coalition advance continued relentlessly. Lieutenant Carl Brooks reported massive alien reinforcements arriving through jump gates. More coalition ships were pouring into the solar system every hour. Their fleet now numbered over 500 vessels, each one armed with weapons that could sterilize worlds. Dr. Amy Walsh worked desperately in her laboratory aboard a medical ship, UES Hippocrates. She was analyzing captured alien technology, looking for any weakness that human forces could exploit. Her research had revealed that alien shields operated on quantum frequencies that might be disrupted by properly tuned human weapons, but there was no time to build new weapons or modify existing ones. The coalition was advancing too fast, destroying everything in their path with ruthless efficiency. Amy wondered if humanity would survive long enough to use any knowledge she might discover. On Earth itself, the civilian population watched the space battle through news broadcasts that showed their defenders being systematically destroyed. President John Hayes spoke from his bunker, trying to maintain morale while alien ships gathered in Earth's skies like storm clouds. The president announced that Earth's government was moving to secure locations. Essential personnel were being evacuated to hidden bunkers, while military forces prepared for the final battle. He promised that humanity would never surrender. But his words sounded hollow as alien victory seemed inevitable. Captain Alina Rodriguez made one last desperate attack on the Corinth dreadnought. Her ship was barely holding together, but she rammed the alien vessel at full speed. The Defiance exploded against alien shields, but her sacrifice created a brief gap that allowed 3 civilian transports to escape. Admiral Lisa Carter watched the destruction from Luna. Basin felt her heart breaking. These were her people dying in space, her ships being torn apart by superior firepower. But she could not show weakness now. The real battle was about to begin. The coalition commanders believed they were winning an easy victory against primitive Humans. They had no idea they were being drawn into the most elaborate trap in military history. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Director Helen Grant walked through corridors that did not exist on any official map. Project Blackout had been humanity's most closely guarded secret for 15 years. While diplomats smiled at alien ambassadors and generals showed off their conventional weapons, the real war preparations happened in places the galaxy would never find. Helen stopped before a massive steel door marked with radiation warnings and biometric scanners. Inside this chamber lay the technology that would change everything. Weapons and ships built from principles that alien science considered impossible. Humans had been very good students, while the galaxy taught them about advanced technology. Commander Alex Stone reported from his hidden base in the asteroid belt. His ghost fleet had been waiting in silence for 3 years, their crews practicing attack runs against holographic targets. 300 stealth ships built with technology from captured alien vessels. Each ship was invisible to coalition sensors and armed with weapons that defied known physics. The ghost fleet existed in the spaces between official records. Their crews were volunteers who had died in training accidents, according to public documents. Their ships were built in secret factories, hidden inside hollowed asteroids. Their weapons came from research programs that alien spies had never discovered. Alex activated the quantum communications system that linked his hidden fleet. Captain Mary Turner acknowledged from Ghost Ship 7, her vessel positioned behind a captured Zephyrian cruiser. Lieutenant Sam Powell confirmed readiness from Ghost Ship 23, hiding in the shadow of Jupiter's largest moon, on Luna's dark side. Chief Engineer Kate Foster initiated systems that the galaxy believed were simple mining equipment. The mass drivers that carved tunnels through lunar rock were actually planet-killing artillery pieces. Each magnetic accelerator could launch projectiles at 90% of light speed with the destructive power of nuclear weapons. Kate had spent 5 years perfecting the targeting computers that would guide tungsten rods across millions of kilometers of space. The aliens had watched humans build these mass drivers, believing they were just industrial tools. They had no idea they were looking at the most powerful weapons in the solar system. Dr. Victor Hayes worked in laboratories that alien inspectors had never seen. His quantum physics research had unlocked secrets that coalition science had missed for thousands of years. Gravity weapons that could crush matter into singularities. Reality disruptors that unraveled atomic bonds. Power sources that drew energy from parallel dimensions. The breakthrough had come from studying alien technology with human creativity. Where alien scientists saw finished products, human researchers saw components that could be improved. Where alien engineers built weapons according to ancient designs, human inventors created entirely new types of destruction. Admiral Tony Mitchell emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system with a fleet that officially did not exist. The second fleet consisted of 40 ships crewed by the best pilots humanity had ever produced. They had been stationed in the nearest star system for 20 years, waiting for the day Earth called them home. Tony's ships were armed with the most advanced human technology. Their hulls were made from materials that could absorb energy weapon strikes. Their shields operated on frequencies that alien sensors could not detect. Their computers ran on quantum processors that thought faster than biological brains. Captain Ruth Clark commanded the flagship UES Retribution, a massive battleship that had never appeared in any official fleet registry. Her weapons officer, Lieutenant Bob White, controlled gravity cannons that could tear apart asteroids. Her engineer, Chief Alan Ford, maintained reactors that burned matter and antimatter in perfect balance. The second fleet had practiced their attack patterns against simulated coalition formations. They knew exactly how alien ships would react to different tactical situations. They had studied every weakness in coalition technology and had built their weapons to exploit those weaknesses perfectly. Back on Earth, Colonel Ben Parker survived. the fall of Mars, and was secretly transported to a hidden command center. His official records showed him killed in action during the defense of Olympus Mons, but his real mission was just beginning. The viral warfare program that would turn alien technology against itself. Ben's team of computer specialists had been infiltrating alien systems for years. Every piece of human technology that coalition forces captured contained hidden programs. Every diplomatic exchange had included data transfers that planted sleeping viruses in alien networks. Every trade agreement had been an opportunity to insert backdoors into coalition computers. The viruses were works of art, designed by humanity's best programmers. They remained completely dormant until activated by a specific quantum signal. Once awakened, they would spread through alien networks like wildfire, turning friendly fire safety systems into targeting computers and causing life support systems to fail catastrophically. General Steve Collins received new orders that made him smile for the first time in days. His retreating forces were not running away in defeat. They were moving into position for the largest coordinated attack in human history. Every surviving human ship was a piece in a puzzle that would soon become clear. The coalition commanders congratulated themselves on their easy victory. Their massive fleet surrounded Earth in a perfect formation designed to prevent any escape. They had brought their entire combined naval power to crush humanity in one decisive battle. They believed they held every advantage. Admiral Lisa Carter stood in her command center and watched alien ships position themselves exactly where human strategists had hoped they would go. The coalition fleet was concentrated in Earth orbit, leaving their home systems defended by skeleton crews. They had taken the bait perfectly. Carter activated the quantum communicator that connected her to every secret human facility. Director Helen Grant confirmed that Project Blackout was ready to deploy. Commander Alex Stone reported that the Ghost Fleet was in position behind enemy lines. Chief Engineer Kate Foster acknowledged that Luna's mass drivers were armed and targeted. Dr. Amy Walsh had discovered the final piece of the puzzle during her analysis of captured alien technology. Coalition ships shared a unified command network that allowed perfect coordination between different species. It was an elegant system that had kept their alliance strong for centuries. It was also the perfect transmission medium for human-computer viruses that would turn that strength into catastrophic weakness. President John Hayes gave the final authorization from his bunker deep beneath Washington. The galaxy had demanded human surrender, but they would receive a very different answer. Humanity had spent 25 years preparing for this moment, knowing that kindness was often mistaken for weakness among the stars. The trap was set. The coalition fleet hung in space around Earth like predators who had finally cornered their prey. They had no idea they were about to learn why humans had earned the nickname the Devils from Terra. In the darker corners of galactic space, Admiral Lisa Carter pressed the activation button that would change the course of galactic history. Across the solar system, hidden human forces received the signal they had been waiting years to hear. The time for deception was over. The time for retribution had begun. Commander Alex Stone watched his tactical display as 300 ghost ships materialized from stealth mode. The quantum cloaking fields that had hidden them behind asteroids and moons flickered off like stage lights. Suddenly, the coalition fleet found themselves surrounded by ships that should not exist. Captain Mary Turner fired the first shot from Ghost Ship 7. Her quantum torpedoes punched through Zephyrian shields as if they were made of paper. The alien cruiser that had been hunting human refugees exploded in a ball of superheated plasma that lit up the darkness of space. Lieutenant Sam Powell unleashed his gravity cannons on a formation of Corinth destroyers. The weapons created miniature black holes that sucked in everything within 1,000 kilometers. 5 enemy ships were crushed into singularities. Before their crews could even scream, the coalition commanders stared at their screens in disbelief. Their perfect formation was being torn apart by weapons they could not understand. Ships that their sensors had never detected were destroying their fleet from within. The humans had somehow turned their numerical advantage into a death trap. Captain Jake Morrison piloted the UES Vengeance directly at the Coalition command ship. His vessel had been rebuilt with technology the aliens had never seen. Quantum armor that could absorb energy weapon strikes. Plasma cannons that fired concentrated stars. Jump drives that could teleport his ship instantaneously across the battlefield. The Zephyrian flagship opened fire with every weapon it possessed. Energy beams that could melt continents struck the Vengeance and were absorbed harmlessly by its quantum hull plating. Jake returned fire with weapons that tore through alien shields like they were tissue paper. On Luna, Chief Engineer Kate Foster activated the mass drivers that would write human anger across the stars. Tungsten rods the size of telephone poles, accelerated to near light speed in the magnetic launch tubes. Each projectile carried the kinetic energy of a small, nuclear weapon. The first salvo struck the Coalition fleet with the force of divine wrath. Perfect holes appeared in alien capital. Ships, as relativistic kill vehicles, punched through their holes. Secondary explosions lit up the darkness as enemy magazines detonated and reactor cores went critical. Kate smiled grimly as she selected her next targets. The aliens had watched humans build these mass drivers for years, thinking they were mining equipment. Now they understood their mistake as tungsten rods moving at 90% of light speed turned their proud warships into expanding clouds of debris. From the edge of the Proxima Centauri system came Admiral Tony Mitchell with the Second Fleet. 40 ships that had been secretly stationed in interstellar space for 20 years jumped directly into the Coalition rear positions. Their appearance was perfectly timed to catch enemy forces between multiple human attack formations. Captain Ruth Clark commanded the flagship UES Retribution as it engaged 3 Coalition dreadnoughts simultaneously. Her ship was a masterpiece of human engineering armed with weapons that alien science considered impossible. Gravity cannons that could compress matter into neutron stars. Reality disruptors that unraveled atomic bonds at the quantum level. Lieutenant Bob White fired the Retribution's main guns at the nearest Corinth vessel. The gravity beam struck the alien ship and began compressing its hull like an invisible fist. Metal screamed as it was crushed into a sphere of superdense matter that collapsed into a miniature black hole. Chief Allen Ford reported, "Perfect reactor performance as the Retribution's matter-antimatter engines provided unlimited power for the devastating weapons." Human technology had surpassed anything the Coalition possessed, and now the aliens were paying the price for their arrogance. Colonel Ben Parker activated the computer virus that turned alien strength into human victory. Hidden programs that had been dormant for years suddenly awakened throughout the Coalition fleet. Enemy targeting systems began identifying friendly ships as hostile targets. Life support systems failed catastrophically as their own computers turned against them. The Stellar Confederacy flagship found its weapons firing on its own escort vessels. The ancient houses of Andromeda watched in horror as their shields collapsed and their engines shut down. Coalition ships that had dominated the galaxy for centuries were being destroyed by their own technology. Dr. Victor Hayes monitored the battle from his hidden laboratory and felt satisfaction at seeing his weapons perform beyond expectations. The quantum disruptors were unraveling enemy hulls at the molecular level. The dimensional power taps were providing unlimited energy for human ships. The gravity manipulators were turning space itself into a weapon. Captain Alina Rodriguez had died earlier in the battle, but her sacrifice was being avenged 1,000-fold. The Coalition fleet that had seemed invincible was being systematically destroyed by human forces they had never imagined existed. Every alien ship that fell was payment for every human life lost. General Steve Collins coordinated the attack from his command ship as surviving human vessels joined the assault. Ships that had been retreating in apparent defeat suddenly revealed hidden weapons and advanced technology. The Coalition found themselves fighting an enemy that was far more dangerous than they had ever suspected. The battle raged across the entire solar system as human forces unleashed 15 years of hidden preparations. Ghost ships materialized from quantum stealth to destroy enemy formations. Mass drivers on multiple worlds launched relativistic projectiles that could not be stopped or deflected. Secret fleets attacked from unexpected directions, with weapons that defied galactic science. Admiral Lisa Carter watched the tactical display as red symbols marking enemy ships disappeared one by one. The Coalition fleet that had numbered over 500 vessels was being reduced to expanding clouds of superheated gas and twisted metal. The aliens who had come to destroy humanity were themselves being annihilated. But this was not just about military victory. This was about sending a message that would echo through every corner of the galaxy. The species that had voted unanimously for human extinction were learning what happened when you threatened the survival of creatures who refused to die. Quietly. Captain Jake Morrison led the final assault on the Coalition command ship. The massive Zephyrian vessel that had coordinated the attack on Earth was now alone and defenseless. Its escorts were gone, its shields were down, and its weapons were being turned against it by human computer viruses. Jake opened a communication channel to the alien commander before delivering the killing blow. He wanted the enemy to understand that this was not random destruction, but calculated retribution. The Coalition had declared war on humanity, and now humanity was finishing what they started. The alien commander stared at Jake through the screen with eyes that held no understanding of human determination. The creature had expected easy victory over primitive apes, but instead faced extinction at the hands of devils, who had been planning this moment for decades. Jake fired every weapon his ship possessed at the Coalition flagship. Quantum torpedoes, plasma cannons, gravity beams, and reality disruptors struck the alien vessel simultaneously. The explosion was visible from Earth as humanity's answer to galactic tyranny lit up the night sky. The battle lasted 18 hours and ended with complete human victory. Admiral Lisa Carter stood in her command center watching the last Coalition ship explode into fragments of twisted metal and superheated plasma. Not a single alien vessel escaped to carry word of their defeat back to their home worlds. The galaxy's greatest fleet had been reduced to space debris and fading radiation signatures. Carter felt no joy in the victory, only grim satisfaction that humanity had survived its first test as a galactic power. The aliens had come seeking easy prey, but had awakened sleeping giants who answered their aggression with methodical and merciless retribution. Now the real work would begin. President John Hayes emerged from his bunker to address the human worlds. The threat to Earth was over, but the war was just beginning. The Coalition species had declared their intention to commit genocide against humanity. That declaration would not be forgotten or forgiven until every member species had paid the price for their decision. Captain Jake Morrison surveyed the wreckage of the Coalition fleet from the bridge of his battle-scarred ship. His crew had fought magnificently, but too many good people had died defending Earth. Lieutenant Carl Brooks had been killed when plasma fire penetrated their shields. Sergeant Mary Phillips had died at her navigation station. Their sacrifice demanded justice. Admiral Tony Mitchell brought the Second Fleet home from Proxima Centauri with orders that would reshape the galaxy. His 40 ships had proven themselves against impossible odds, and now they would carry human vengeance to every world that had voted for Earth's destruction. The Coalition would learn that declaring war on humanity meant facing total defeat. Captain Ruth Clark prepared the U.S. retribution for the next phase of operations. Her massive battleship had performed flawlessly in the defense of Earth, but its real mission lay ahead. The Coalition homeworlds awaited human justice, and she would deliver it with the same precision that had destroyed their fleet. Director Helen Grant emerged from her hidden facilities as Project Blackout transitioned from defense to offense. The weapons and ships that had saved Earth would now carry the fight to enemy territory. 15 years of secret preparation had given humanity the tools it needed to finish this war permanently. Dr. Victor Hayes analyzed the battle data and felt pride at how perfectly his weapons had performed. The quantum disruptors had unraveled alien hulls at the molecular level. The gravity manipulators had crushed enemy ships into singularities. The dimensional power taps had provided unlimited energy for human forces. Coalition science had proved inferior to human creativity. Colonel Ben Parker coordinated the intelligence operation that would guide human forces to their targets. His computer viruses had not only helped win the battle, but had also downloaded complete databases from alien ships. Humanity now possessed detailed information about every coalition world, every defense system, and every weakness. General Steve Collins planned the campaign that would visit justice upon the species that had threatened Earth. Each coalition member would receive the same ultimatum they had given humanity: surrender unconditionally or face complete destruction. But humans, unlike their enemies, would show mercy to those who submitted peacefully. The first target was the Zephyrian Empire, the species that had led the coalition attack. Captain Elena Rodriguez had died fighting their ships, and her sacrifice would be honored with the liberation of their homeworld. The proud crystal builders, who had believed themselves superior to humanity, would learn the price of genocidal ambition. Admiral Lisa Carter led the expedition to Zephyria Prime, with a fleet of 100 human ships. The Ghost Fleet provided stealth reconnaissance, while the Second Fleet brought overwhelming firepower. Luna's mass drivers had been rebuilt on mobile platforms that could strike targets from interstellar distances. The Zephyrian Home Fleet met the humans at the edge of their star system. 200 alien vessels formed perfect battle lines, confident in their crystal technology and energy shields. They had not learned the lesson of Earth, and still believed that superior numbers meant inevitable victory. Captain Jake Morrison opened the battle by targeting the alien flagship with quantum torpedoes that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The Zephyrian commander watched his supposedly impenetrable shields collapse like paper before weapons that should not exist according to galactic science. The battle was over in 47 minutes. Zephyrian crystal ships that had ruled their region of space for millennia were reduced to glittering dust clouds by human weapons. The survivors activated their surrender beacons and begged for the mercy their leaders had refused to show. Earth. Carter accepted the surrender, but demanded complete submission. The Zephyrian government was dissolved and replaced with human administrators. Their military was disbanded, and their weapons technology turned over to human researchers. The empire that had lasted 10,000 years ended in less than an hour. One by one, the coalition members fell before human forces. The Corinth Dominion lasted 3 hours against gravitational weapons that compressed their ships into neutron stars. The Stellar Confederacy surrendered without firing a shot after watching their neighbors be systematically destroyed. The ancient houses of Andromeda tried to negotiate, offering tribute and technology in exchange for survival. Captain Ruth Clark delivered humanity's answer by reducing their capital world's defense grid to molten metal with reality disruptors that unraveled matter at the quantum level. Each victory sent shockwaves through the remaining coalition worlds. Species that had ruled the galaxy for millennia found themselves helpless against human technology that surpassed their greatest achievements. The young race they had dismissed as primitive warmongers had become their undisputed masters. Within 1 year, 14 interstellar civilizations had either surrendered completely or been reduced to radioactive ruins. The galaxy had turned on Earth, seeking easy conquest, but had instead awakened creatures who would never forgive and never forget. Human determination had triumphed over alien arrogance through superior strategy and unstoppable technology. Dr. Amy Walsh established the research facilities that would study captured alien science. Humanity would learn from their defeated enemies while developing even more advanced weapons. The galaxy had declared war on Earth, and humans intended to win that war so decisively that no species would ever threaten them again. The few surviving coalition leaders lived in comfortable detention on Luna Base, where they spent their remaining years wondering how they had so catastrophically underestimated the species they had planned to exterminate. They never learned that humans had spent 25 years preparing for their inevitable betrayal. President John Hayes addressed the United Earth Council as human fleets established control over former coalition territories. The message was simple and would be broadcast to every corner of the galaxy. Earth had come in peace, but Earth would finish any war that others started. Admiral Lisa Carter stood on the bridge of her flagship and watched human ships patrol the space lanes that had once belonged to alien empires. The galaxy was learning a new truth that would guide interstellar relations for centuries to come. Humanity could be the best friend or the worst enemy any species would ever encounter. The war had ended with complete human victory, but the peace would last only as long as other species remembered the price of threatening Earth. Humans had answered the galaxy's aggression with merciless retribution, and that answer would echo through the stars until the end of time.